Thank you, everyone. So, okay, thanks for letting me. So, hi, everyone. My name is Timmy. I am a Scrum Master, an Agile Delivery Manager, a certified Scrum Master, actually, and an Agile Delivery Manager. And today we'll be looking through the Agile Team Charter. We'll be talking about some importance about the Agile Team Charter, components, elements, and how to create the team charter, some examples, and what's next, how to document it, and then we'll take questions. So, for an agile team charter, just like Wumi said, it's one of the most important thing that you as a team have to do before the start of any project. So the agile team charter is like a guiding document that outlines the mission, the goals, values, and operational scope of an agile team. It is like a document that really outlines the ways of working of the team, like the team's agreement, the team's missions, processes, and so on. So according to Indeed.com, an agile team charter is like an introductory document. So it aligns an agile team's mission, vision, communication protocols, like the ways of working, like their team's agreement, like success criteria, and so on. And it helps to like standardize how a team should work so as to manage costs. So this document prepares the team to focus, and it helps the team to it prepares them for success, and it helps them to eliminate conflict and enhance collaboration. This team charter also helps to keep the teams on track and eliminate confusion, and also helps the entire team to have like a very universal understanding. So when a team come together to work for the first time, just like how most of you are now, you coming together to work for the first time to achieve like a common goal. It's normal for you to have something like this called like friction. There's like probably like difference between a like some differences between the team. So there's usually friction, and the difference between a productive team or an a chaotic team or an ineffective team is how this team can move past this friction. So the difference between a team that is productive and a team that is ineffective is how they can move past all these differences and this friction. So when I say friction, I mean like misalignment of goals. And this happens when there's conflict, and usually these frictions occurs like at the first stage of team development. So very quickly, I would really like us to like look at this Stockman's ladder that describes the team stages of group development. So usually we have like the forming stage, the storming stage, norming, performing, and adjourning. And friction usually occurs in this forming stage. So in the forming stage, really the team are still very formal to each other. They're still like very formal, still trying to be official and all. And they treat each other like strangers. You most times in this stage they tend to ask like a lot of questions, and they kind of get like they try as much as possible to try to get acquainted to themselves, and this is where they establish some ground rules and like set some clear expectations for the team. So yeah, they treat each other like strangers, their formalities and the likes. And in the storming stage, members of the team start communicating their feelings more, but they still do not understand the concept of a team. Conflicts usually arise in this stage a lot, I must say, and the team probably start to work in silos. So when I say silos, I mean that they try to work in their own bubble, like they try to like do things on their own, they work on their own, and this could make them hostile to themselves. So as a scrum master, yeah, really like you just try to make everyone understand that they like make everyone understand the importance of teamwork and use some kind of conflict resolution technique in this stage. And then there is a norming stage, and in this stage, they start to feel more like a team. They kind of start to reconcile, they're like there's like lowered anxiety, and every member starts to like become very supportive of each other. Everything start to like look normal. They tend to like accept the viewpoint of one another in this norming stage. And then we have performing stage. So in the performing stage, the team starts to demonstrate a very, very LDR system, and they have like more open communication, and they like trust each other more and better. And in this stage, they tend to celebrate every win as a team, and they put little or no importance in hierarchy. And then there is the adjourning stage where the team recognizes every member's contribution to the growth that has been achieved. So usually they come together here to access their wins and their progress. And sometimes in this stage, changes could occur in this stage as well. So when I was explaining friction, the friction usually occur in the forming stage and the storming stage of the team development. And understanding of an agile team charter and how to use it may help the team to eliminate this friction and promote synergy in an agile team. And synergy means like an interaction amongst a group of people to create a combined effort rather than when they work alone. So like they have more better outcome to decisions rather than when they work alone. So there's some importance of the Agile Team Charter before we go more deep into it. One importance of the Agile Team Charter is that it protects the team from the upper management. So the Team Charter ensures that the vision of the project is not easily controlled by the management, most especially if it's like an agile process. So in this case, management less likely force the hand of the team, because at the beginning of your project, you've all decided that okay, we have daily stand up this time, or we've agreed to have this kind of conflict resolution technique if conflict ever arises, and management may not be able to like to to force or change most of these things. And it keeps budget in line and keeps the project scope. So it prevents unauthorized work to be added to the project, and in this case it will just prevent additional costs. And it also helps to reduce confusion amongst team members, because everybody knows what time is what meeting. They know who does what. They understand everybody's roles and responsibilities. They understand the team's vision, the mission. Is like an agreement, a working agreement, and everybody is clear on what they need to do, and everything that needs to be done in that particular project is also really clear to everyone. And he aims the teams towards success as well, because I mean, when you come together to have like an agreement, you know that you already have an agreement, and that is what you follow through. It aims you towards success. So there are some components of agile team charters, most like it's kind of like broken down into these three. So we have the purpose, the alignment, and the context. So the purpose talks about the project vision, it talks about the mission, the objectives. So it just basically discusses like why are we here? Like what are we trying to do? Like how are we going to get to where we want to get to? And like why are we actually building this project? And for alignment, it talks about values, principles, like ground rules, house rules, working agreement, like the sprint ceremonies, the sprint length, the iteration type, definition of ready, definition of done, the iteration board, like what type of framework we want to use, and all text. So just like decide the boundaries of the team, create resolution techniques, our communication pattern. Now, there are some elements of adult team charter, and it's really not limited to this. You can add more based on what the team wants to mean, the project objectives, the team roles and responsibilities. We have skill set, fun events, and the likes. So we'll go more deeper into each of this to have a more understanding about each of these elements. the mission and the vision statement. So the vision statement is like a description of the future state of the solution that we are trying to develop. So it gives like a reflection of the customer and stakeholders needs and the capabilities to meet these needs. So view and like a purpose of the solution that I was trying to explain earlier, like these are the okay. So these are like some of the elements of the Agile Team Charter, like the mission, definition of ready and done, the roles and responsibilities, fun events, values, and the likes. And we're going to try to touch on each one of them more deeply to gain more understanding about them. So the mission and the vision statement. The vision statement again is like a description of the future state of the solution that we are trying to develop. So it gives like a reflection of the customers and the stakeholders' needs and the capabilities to meet these needs. So this vision statement should be achievable and should be aspirational, and and it should also provide like an overview and purpose of the solution that we are trying to develop. So it also answers questions like, what is this product? Who is this product for? Like, it is for what market majorly? And why does this market need this product? How will it benefit them? And how is our product like really different from our competitors? So all these questions really will help guide your team towards creating the right vision statement for your project. While writing your team's vision statement, just try to put in mind that this vision statement should be attainable and it should have direction. So I mean that it should act like a direction for your team. So they are clear about why this project should be made. The vision statement should also be customer focused and must be easily understood. And for the mission statement, a mission statement is concise and it clarifies the highest level purpose of a product. Like it helps us to understand the the highest level, why is this product very, very important. And it is usually to the point statement. It summarizes like the whole project. It makes everyone understand where we are going to as a team and what we need to achieve, and it shows what purpose the product is for. So for example, in McDonald's, I think one of their mission statements is like, our mission is to make delicious feel good moments easy for everyone. So it's like precise to the point. They have a mission, like they have like something that is realistic, like a purpose for them. And we also have objectives. So the project objectives are what the team plans to achieve at the end of the project. So when writing this project objective for your team, just try to remember that it should be attainable, and that without these project objectives, you may not have like a clear way of communicating the goals before and during the project. When creating your project objective, try to make it very brief, but make it clear as well, and that it is achievable, it is realistic, and it can be completed within a time frame. You can also use like some techniques to write this objective. You can always like put at the back of your mind this smart technique. So you can use it like to guide yourself when you're trying to write your the objective for your team. So it just means that your objective must be specific to the project your team is working on, and it must be measurable, because at the end of your project, the team need a clear way to look back and see if this project was successful. Like you want to try to like measure it, and also make sure that your objective are achievable. I mean, you want to be very ambitious in setting your objective, but also don't be too overly ambitious. Just try to make sure that it's something that you can really achieve. Because if it is not, the project may move slowly or it may be delayed. And the objective must also be realistic. And the objective should also take into account how long the project timeline is. So, for example, a team whose project is based on like managing employees information, for example, their their objective, I mean, could be to develop an advanced employee management system to bring together all relevant employees information by April 2023. So this is like measurable. It is time bound. So maybe at the middle of 2023, they could just now try to measure it that, okay, how far have we gone with this? Okay, we are 50% close to achieving this particular objective. Like they can measure it and it's specific to a particular purpose, and they can also achieve it. They are not like overly too ambitious, and it's also relevant to their project. And another one is like ensure that all the office software is updated to the newest version by the end of the project. So they have a vision, like a purpose. They can measure it and they can always look back at it, because it is also relevant. It is also very relevant to their project as well and specific to their project. And then there is the team roles and responsibility. This is like one of my favorites, and it's also like one of the most important and the most critical function of the team charter. I mean, almost all the team charter should have this, because you want to have a clear understanding of everybody's roles and responsibilities in your team. So this is because newly formed agile teams have to get comfortable with working together, and they want to also understand the roles that each members play. So to increase the success of a project, each member should have a clear understanding of everybody's responsibilities and the value that each people are adding to the team. So one way to do this is using a whiteboard like Miro, Mural, and allow each team members write down the responsibilities of other team members. Like when I try to develop team charter for some of my team, this is kind of like the exercise that I use, because aside from the fact that it helps everybody understand individual roles and responsibility, it is also a technique that is very very engaging. It's also very very engaging. So, for example, you are a scrum master and you're trying to like facilitate this agile team pattern, then you get to the point where everybody has to put in their roles and responsibilities. So, you as a scrum master, you write down the responsibilities of, for example, the developer, the QA, the product owner. But you as a scrum master, you don't write your own roles and responsibility. And also the developers as well will not write their own roles and responsibilities. They write the responsibilities of the QAs, the BA, and the product owner. So like make sure that no team member writes their own responsibilities. So the idea behind this exercise is that you want to understand the initial perspective of the roles and responsibilities of each team members and understand it. In my organization, when I tried this exercise, one of the developers thought that my role was like a manager or like a Jira board administrator, I mean. And some even thought I was like the team manager. And aside from this being fun, it really helps to clear wrong perspective about the roles and responsibilities that each team members may have towards each other. So for me, I may not really be clear about what the DAs are doing, and I just put in something that I perceive could be their roles and responsibilities. So at the end of the day, I get to learn. My doubts are being cleared, and I now know what their roles and responsibilities are. And again, to just help everyone to understand who does what and why. And it also add value to the team, and it gives a proper insight of everybody's roles and responsibilities, because everybody knows what to expect from everyone. And then we also have values. Values have um, values helps to like define a minimum standard of acceptable behavior and performance in a workplace. So it helps to direct the team towards an achievable set of objectives. These values create normality for the team and influence the team's behavior and action. For example, examples of value you can set as a team could be, and not limited to, could be mutual understanding. Like you want to be like, our core values in this team is that we want to like, I mean, mutual respect. I mean, we want to respect each other. We want to have open communication. We want to like, we could also use some of the strong values like courage, focus, openness, respect. So it would be like, okay, these are like the values that we want to have in our team, like honesty, integrity. So decide as a team on what you want to reflect upon. For example, if you realize that some of your team members are working in silos, you could just come back to these values, and remind them that, see, oh, we all agreed to work as a team. We all agreed to like to be transparent and to involve everybody in everything that we do. Let's go back to our team chat and remind ourselves of this. So please let's not work in silos. So you can easily like drag people back to this value that you set for yourself, like like the normality that everybody has agreed upon. And then we also have like skill set. So the skill set helps us to understand the soft skills and the hard skills that every member possesses. And to achieve this, just ask questions like, so what are the skills that we possess as a team that will help us to achieve our objectives? So what are like interpersonal skills? What are our soft skills? What skills do we possess? And what are we really good at as individuals and as a team? For examples of technical skills could be like C sharp. Probably some people are good in C sharp. Some people are good in Visual Studio, Excel, Jira, Java, and then soft skills like time management. Some people are good in time management, communication, teamwork, motivation, conflict resolution, and the likes. So this also helps in knowledge transfer really, because now, for example, everybody has put in what they are good at, like these are their skills, and now you realize some gaps. Okay, somebody is good in C sharp and the other person is good in Java or Python. Now you know what, like what peer programming you could do and what knowledge transfer session you could actually design for your team. And talking about knowledge transfer, the team should really talk about a knowledge transfer process, especially in cases where team members have unique skills and strengths, like I explained earlier. And the team have to like design a time for cross training and knowledge sharing in a way that it is less disruptive to the team's activity. For example, in my organization, the we have a group of data guys, like data analysts, data scientists, data architects, and everything. And at the end, every month they come together to like show what they've done and the codes that they've written, just for like cross training and like and knowledge transfer. And it's very very informative because most of them they get to learn. So even if one person is not the person that is good at one particular skill is not available, now we know that other people, other member of the team is trained to also do that. And sometimes the QAs in my team could decide to have like a QA book, like they also decide to have like a QA book club where they can share knowledge regarding new ways of testing or ways of improving their test processes and the like. So this is like a good practice, like, and a good thing to actually decide on in your team, that okay, now we know that we have different skills. How do you think that we should like share and transfer knowledge even within scrum masters really, whereby you know that okay, somebody is probably very very more conversant with Jira, or somebody knows more about ice breaking session, or somebody knows how to facilitate meetings more. You can have like knowledge transfer session. So just come together when you're writing your agile team charter, and then decide on when you want to have this knowledge transfer session. It could be once in a month, it could be twice in a month. It depends on what you decide. And it totally depends on your team. Your team like totally depends on what your team wants. And we also have like fun events. I mean, for as much as everyone wants to work and focus on project goals and objective. Always make out time to have fun with your team and to celebrate successes. For especially with the fact that most times most companies now they are working remotely, like most people are working remotely, and few people are probably also working in an hybrid manner, or some people are, but yeah, really it's one of like the most important thing to always create time where you don't talk about work, or you just come to celebrate the success that you've achieved in a probably in a month or in 2 weeks, but just make out time to have fun with yourself. Have one-to-one sessions with people, like create time to have virtual coffees where you can just come together to have games, to just have maybe some fun quizzes or some fun debates, so these events are really good because there are events that the team may use to celebrate successes, and to have events like team building activities, get to know themselves better, get to bond better. And it's also a quick meeting to like motivate each other, just something fun that can be decided as a team, because this will help to increase the team's motivation, team bonding, team communication, and really improve the team spirit. So it could be like mini games, it could be chit chat sessions where you just talk about, okay, so what did you do over the weekend? What do you like to do? What movies do you like to see? It could be also, oh, in the last 2 weeks we were able to release this and it's really nice. So if we decide on what fun means to you, decide on what fun events to have as a team. And this practice is really good for remote teams. And then another very important element is the scrum ceremonies. Even if you're a Kanban team, you also have to decide on the ceremonies that you want to have as an agile team. So all team members must have a shared understanding about the sequence and the purpose of the ceremonies. Like create the time and date for each of these ceremonies. Your sprint planning that is done at the beginning of the sprint for 2 to 4 hours, a daily scrum that is done for 10 to 15 minutes daily each work day, in sprint review, end of the cycle, 2 to 4 hours, and your sprint retrospective, 1 to 2 hours to determine an action plan and how to improve, and then backlog refinement for like it's done continuously to refine the backlog. So decide on what time you want each of these ceremonies should take place. So create the time and date for each of these ceremonies as a team. It's not like one person is going to come and say, okay, let's do sprint planning every Monday. I've decided, or let's do sprint planning every Wednesday. You understand? Come together as a team, so that in case some people are not joining, or some people are like are saying, or some people are not like actively participating, you could just come and remind them that we all agree to this time, we all agree to this rhythm. And so have an understanding why each of these ceremonies are important. Like you could just give it a simple definition, like, "Oh, this in this meeting we are going to be doing this and that, and what this is what it will be used for, and this is the time." And understand why each of these meetings are important. So decide on the sequence, the rhythm, the time, the place, and the date for each of these ceremonies. So you can decide on what time and date your sprint planning and your daily stand up, your sprint retrospective, your backlog refinement, your sprint review. Decide on the time that they will be. And this will make sure that everyone is clear and they are in the know of what time and date they take place. Also, they understand like the importance of this meeting as well, because everybody like have had a shared understanding this about this meeting. So remember that Scrum ceremonies help to promote inspection, adaptation, and transparency within a Scrum team and its processes. So this Scrum ceremonies is very, very important. Now let's talk about definition of ready and definition of done. So this definition of ready is like criteria that a product backlog item must meet before it is considered ready to be committed to an iteration or to a sprint. So if you go to your sprint backlog and you see that a particular product backlog item does not have like an estimation, or the story is not complete, for example, it does not have a complete user story, or it does not have a wireframe. That's like, for example. So then you can say that it has not met definition of done. So while creating your team charter, you must all come together to decide on the criteria and define the definition of ready. And for definition of done, on the other hand, there are criteria that must be met before a product backlog item is considered to be complete. Before we move this ticket to done, 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 and before we are ready to deliver this product backlog item to the customer, like it must have passed all these criteria that we as a team have defined. So if this definition of done is not followed or created, low quality product backlog items may be delivered or presented to the customers or the stakeholders, and we don't want to have that happening as a team. We always want to deliver quality and standardized products. So example of definition of ready could be that product backlog items taken to the sprint must have been refined, and these product backlog items must contain a wireframe and should be clearly written to include a user story and acceptance criteria. It could also be like these product backlog items must meet the inverse criteria. And then definition of done could be like acceptance criteria and the criteria test have they have been fulfilled. The developers have actually developed the features, unit testing has been done, it has been integrated with other increment and it is working. You could also define it like you could also put more points like products have been tested, so regression testing has been done and there's no showstopper bugs, and the features are ready to be tested by the users. So the features are also shippable and can be demonstrated to the customers. So like it depends on what your team wants to define it as, but the definition and ready and definition of done helps to make sure that you have product backlog items that is ready to be worked on, and you have product backlog item that's met a particular standard that you've set for your team before you ship it to the customers. And then we have framework and definition of iteration board. So for framework, decide as a team decide as a team what agile framework would be best for your project, and then it is ask questions like is it a project that the value them like value can be delivered every sprint, or do we have to like continuously integrate or continuously deliver tasks because we continuously get requirement from our stakeholders, like it's a project that is dynamic and emergent. So if the case is that you continually get requirement from stakeholders and the project is dynamic and is emergent, like work is always coming, in that case you just have to use a Kanban board, because you always have new issues every day and your customers will not really want to wait for like 2 to 4 week sprints to get what they need. And then you can decide that okay, let's use Kanban, because you always have new issues and new product backlog item added to the board at any time. But if it's a project that is very large, do we have to use like a scaled agile framework, or do we have to run like a product increment planning? So you ask this kind of questions. Is this something that we can deliver per sprint, that we can break down these features every 2 weeks? So then you can use Scrum. So come together, decide on the type of framework you want to do, the type, and based on this, you can then define your iteration board. So define how you want your iteration board to look like. So this board is also used during daily stand up to monitor and discuss the team's progress. And the board specification may vary based on the framework that you've decided. So if you are using a Kanban framework or a Scrum framework, it will help you determine the type of iteration board you should have. So decide on the number of columns your board should have and what this column should be. The board should like consist of the statuses of the product backlog item. Like the board should consist of like these statuses. If the product backlog item is in to do or is in doing, for example, you know what it means. So at every point of production, there's like there are like statuses for each of for on your board. So it could be like to do in progress or done. For example, if it's a Kanban board, So from to do, in progress, then you're moving into done. But if it's like a scrum team or a scrum framework, you can be you can add more things like in BA, approved, committed, in development, in QA, in UAT done. So at this point, once the product backlog item is in committed, you know that we are like we've committed to sprint. If it's in development column, it means that developers are working on it. So you come and you define what each of these columns are, so everybody understand what it is. And then we have the key stakeholders. So key stakeholders, as a team, identify individuals who are expected to be impacted by the project, and according to the Scrum glossary in Scrum.org, a stakeholder is like a person, like an external person to the team, to the Scrum team, with a specific interest in and like that has a specific interest in the project, and knowledge of the project that is required for incremental discovery. So a stakeholder is somebody that has an interest in the project, and they are really 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 invested in your project. So this the stakeholders are usually represented by the product owner, but every member of the team should understand who these stakeholders are and why are we trying to satisfy them, are their requirements. So we need to like understand who our key stakeholders are. And now, how do you actually go about creating your team charter? So, how do you go about creating your team charter? First, you have to like hold a meeting to establish your team charter. By holding, you can hold an offsite meeting or set a time aside for your team, or like set a time aside for your team to do this. You could start with like a team building activity, just to like have like a good, like an icebreaker before you come together to establish the team charter. So usually the team can set a time, and then probably like if it is a team that they are not doing it, they're not doing it virtually, they could like set a time and head to a place out of the office and like spend some time together doing a non-work activity. In my company, sometimes we like take out time once in every 3 months to like come together and do this. And our non-work activity could be like maybe we're going out for dinner, or we're going to an escape room. Then we now have like a time to construct the team charter. So these non-work activities are kind of like important because it will help to develop a fun and memorable way of writing the team charter. And even if you can't have a retreat, it is quite important to create like a large block of time to have like an icebreaker before actually trying to create your team charter. So put in mind that questions will really arise, and it is important that as a scrum master, you should walk your members through any questions they have regarding the process. Also remember that you're not a solution provider. So listen to suggestions of the team and walk them through creating this team charter. And these are like examples of the team charter. I would like to, okay. So this is like a template that you could use to create your team charter. And this is also like an example of a Scrum Teams charter as well. And I also have like a live board that one of my teams have used to create their team charter, that I would like to actually show you. So, for example, they've come together, they've decided on the template that they would like to have or use for their team charter, And for example, they come together to create like the mission. Everybody came to like inputted what their mission, what they think the mission of the project is, and then they have like team goals, like what do they need to achieve like the mission. And then they also come together to like put in the roles and responsibilities of the team, the ADM, the product owner, the BA. So everybody like came together to put what they think the roles and responsibilities of each of these individuals are, and then they it was obviously corrected at the end of the day. They just like inputted their pictures just for them to understand, just for them to like understand, to put a face to the name. And then they also came together to like have their values written. So everybody put, okay, mutual understanding, positive collaboration, seek help, and then how do we want to reach alignment? What is our conflict resolution process? Who are our key stakeholders? What are our communication tools? Then they also come together to decide on what time to have their sprint refinement, their sprint planning, their weekly catch up, the the likes. So this is like just a few example of okay, this is just like a few example of what the agile team charter could actually look like. And so it depends on your team really. It depends on what you like to on how you like it, on how you like your team charter to be, the type of template you want. It depends on what you agree on as a team. But the most important thing is that you should have your team charter ready before the start of your project. So, what's next after you've developed your team charter? So, make sure that everyone agrees on the document that have been created. Ask questions like, is everyone agreeing to this? And make sure that everybody is agreeing to it because it symbolizes like their commitment to this agreement. So, as a scrum master, use the team charter to keep the team aligned and on track. So if you feel that they are deviating from the agreement, you can use the team charter to remind them of what was initially agreed on as a team or what the team has agreed to commit to. For example, my team there was it's a Kanban team really, and then they had decided that they don't want to have daily stand up every time. They want to have daily stand up like 3 times in a week. So the other 2 days they decided that they would instead put their daily updates on like a daily loop, like an Excel file. And at the end of the day, they said deviating from that plan. They come for the daily stand up quite all right, but putting in their daily updates in the daily loop was something they didn't do. So in one of the retrospective, I just reminded them that okay, I keep reminding. I mean, the first few months they were doing it, but after like a couple of months, they just really stopped doing it, and I just had to always remind them, please put in your daily updates in the daily loop. And then it felt like I needed to like remind them of what they had agreed on and just jog their memory back on. We all agreed on this, so why are we deviating on it? And I would like to state that the team charter can be revisited. So if it's not really working, you can always come back and your team can decide on what works. So I just like had the retrospective with them and they had explained to me that they sometimes forget to write it and the daily stand up is probably more effective. So we just had to scrap out the daily loop and then everybody started coming to the daily stand up 5 times in a week, which was more useful. So um as a scrum master really and as a team, you can always like ensure that you use this team chatter to remind your team when they are kind of like deviating. So this type of deviation really you cannot is inevitable and the team could deviate somehow on what was agreed on. So especially for teams that are not so matured. So the team chatter really helps to like bring them back in track. So um following this, the team chatter also helps to answer questions like are we still true to our mission and purpose? Are we like reflecting on our purpose? Am I performing my roles and responsibilities like I stated that I would? And is our like work process effective? It just helps us to like reflect on our ways of working and our processes. Like our polar backlog item meeting the agreed upon definition of ready and done. And are we communicating like we should? Are we like living up to our values? So the team channel just really helps us to reflect on the team and its processes. And you can document the Agile team chatter on Confluence page, on your wiki page, on Azure, your Miro board. You can leave it on your Miro board. You can document it on your mural or even on your Teams channel. And I also wanted to quickly show you how to use the Azure wiki page to document your Agile team chatter, for example. So when you come to your Azure board, I'm not sure if you've gotten, if everyone has access to the Azure board. I also like to state that everybody can edit this wiki page. So when you come to your, okay, good. When you come to, for example, if this is your project, for example, Infotech, you can easily just come to your wiki here and create a project wiki. You can call it, for example, um, let's say mentor skid, for example, mentor skid wiki. And yeah, let's see. So this is it. Like now you've created an home page for your wiki. So your wiki is like a page that stores all the important documentation or processes of your team. So you can always like use this wiki page, document your team charter. You can use it to document your BA requirement. You can use it to document your like the user story that you've written, your test processes, and every other important information about your team. Maybe you've done a coaching session and you want people to always visit it. You can document it on your wiki page. So, for example, if you want to add sub pages, you just over upon this, you see more options, and then you can create like a sub page. And you can put like Scrum Masters wiki page, for example. So now you know that in this Scrum Master wiki page, you can document everything that involves Scrum Masters there, and you can also create like a sub page for the wiki for the Scrum Masters, and you can put like Agile team chatter. For example, I mean, this depends on how your team want to do it. It doesn't have to be the same process. It doesn't have to be like the same process, but it's just important that you understand how documenting these things on your wiki page is. You can put a table, for example, you can input a table by clicking this place, and this is how it's okay. Let me say um, Mentos kid, and then you can just put something else. Um, Agile team chatter or something. So you can be flexible with it. You can even like use it to document your. You can use it to document anything that you like to document. You can have bulleted lists, numbered lists, checklists, and you can also add insert a file. For example, I can put this presentation in it, and then you can save, and you are able to access this team charter document here. So it's really easy, honestly, to use the wiki page. So it's just really important for you to understand how the wiki page works, because you can save and store a lot of informations that are very, very valuable to the team for keeps, and everybody can always go back to see where it is. And then also I would like to um so yeah, conclusively, agile team chatter like helps the team to like aim towards success, and because everybody really come together to share their views regarding the team's purpose, the team's alignment, the context, and it helps to like revisit and adjust their ways of working if need be. And also the outcome of an agile chattering workshop is not a final document. Like I said, it's not like the final document when you've like decided on this element and you've come to an agreement. It's not usually the final document. It will always be in a draft format and it can be revised on a regular basis by the team. So whenever the team or the project changes or like something is new, something like you've learned something new about the project, you can always come back to revise it and like add more information to your Agile team charter. So that will be all from me. Thank you everyone, and I'll be taking questions now.
Hi, thank you so much. That was really nice. Even I learned a lot from it. Thank you so much, Tammy. Really appreciate. Okay, we can see your claps. I don't know specifically who was clapping, but thank you so much, Tammy. That was beautiful to listen to. Let me stop. Let me act. Okay. Let's go to the question session. Time has gone, so we will take questions for 5 minutes. Okay. Anyone with any question as regards how to go about this? Okay, IJ, shoot.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the training. My question is the Agile Charter. Is it according to the team or according to the project?
It's
As in,
according to
okay, according to the team, not according to project.
so it's also according to what you are working on. I mean, for example, your mission and your objectives, you have to put your project in mind when you are trying to draft that. But every other
Okay,
thing like deciding your scrum ceremonies, how you want to share knowledge, how you
yeah,
want to have fun activities, it depends on what your team agrees on.
okay, okay, thank you. And is the Scrum Master that puts everything down as the team members are making suggestions?
No, everybody puts everything down. They come
Okay,
together to work on it. Yeah.
okay, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question? Thank you so much for that question, Ijoma.
Hi, Farouk. Please go ahead.
All right, thank you, Tim. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, great. Thanks for the presentation. Really awesome one. I just wanted to find out about the part about the vision and the mission statement for the team. How does that interact with the vision and mission statement of the organization in itself? Because I believe, every organization will have its own mission and vision statement. So what's
Yeah.
the interplay between that of the team and that of the organization? Is it possible there could be a clash, or must it go in line with what has already been established by the big organization?
Yeah, so I think that sometimes depends your on your organization sometimes because sometimes the project of I think that in my opinion, most times when you're doing something for your organization, it's for your organization. So your mission and your objective must also be in line to your organizational mission and objective. You should always put the project in mind and also put your organization in mind. So, I mean, your organization is giving you a project. So, what you're trying to achieve or the project you're trying to achieve is basically if your stakeholders are probably top management or top management executives, and really you are going to be trying to develop your mission, vision, objectives, and all this and objective statement based on the project, based on the organization, I mean, and the project scope and project goal as well. So you put everything in mind. Thank you, Farouk, for that question. I hope I was able to answer.
Yeah,
I'm
thank you.
not sure. I think you lost him. Okay, Farouk is here. Farouk. Okay, I think he said yes. So thank you. Thank you so much, Farouk. Any other questions from anyone? Okay, Kemi, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Tammy, for the presentation. Very enlightening. The team charter, is that something we should look to start? We should ideally start to create even before you start actual sprint planning and things like that. So you would
Yes,
do it in sprint 0. We might not have all the information for the project yet, but we can start working on team values, ways of working, and things like that.
exactly.
How you would do it.
Because I mean, before you start your sprint planning, you want to decide on when you want to have it and what the purpose of the sprint planning should be. So it's quite important. Like it's one of the first steps you should do when you are starting a new project with your team. Decide on these things. Decide on how you want to agree, like how you want to work. So it's something that you should really start working on. I don't know if I'm able to answer your question.
Yes, that did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you so much, everyone. Ken, hi, go ahead, please. Hi, Ken. You are muted if you're speaking.
Hi, just a quick contribution to the question about the mission statement. So, I'm just going to add a little thing. I think the presenter has done very well in, in bringing a lot of light to the topic. I think the question has to look at what the mission statement would be. So you have a project mission statement which comes from the stakeholders. Then you could have a project mission statement which is specific to the program or to the project you're working on, and then you could have what they call like a sprint goal, which is specific to the sprint you're working on. So it is like a cadence that comes in every different level which you're working on. So there's always a goal or a mission or a purpose for every stage of the build. So just my quick contribution. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ken. That was really enlightening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Okay. Um, so in the absence of no other question or contribution, so we'll call it the end of the team charter. So guys, please go back as a team. We're not ending the call. Please don't drop off. So guys, please go back as a team. Scrum Masters, you know what to do. Organize this a time for you guys in your team to meet to create a team charter before the end of the week. Because by next week, Tammy is coming back for a quick workshop just to see what you guys have done. Yeah. So the workshop will be just very fast to see what you've done, give feedbacks, and all that. I would suggest you also collaborate with your mentors, not to teach you exactly what to do because you are supposed to do it yourself, make research and all, but at least to guide you so you're not really off track. Yeah. But thanks everyone, and thank you so much, Ken, for the contribution. Thanks to all those that asked questions, and thank you so much, Tammy. So, Tammy, I think Tammy you should be almost at midnight now. Tammy is in Spain. She's one of our very seasoned mentors, and she's very helpful and quickly, jumps to help out. So please feel free to reach out to Tammy if you have questions, and also or best is to reach out to your mentors within the team. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. The next session will be for elicitation of requirements and the show and tell for it. So we'll try and be as fast as possible for that too. Bolu will be handling the session. Ken, is this hand re-raised?
No, I think it was previously.
Maybe
I think let's put it down.
okay. Thank you. All right. Bolu, are you ready for us?
Yes, I am.
Thank you so much, Bolu. So you have Bolu for the rest of the night. Enjoy. So everybody should know how to elicitate requirements. That's why we did this for everyone. So hold on, let me stop the previous recording.